Hello, and welcome back to our Awakening Intuition video series, where we pull oracle cards once a month from my decks Awakening Intuition and Grief, Grace, and Healing. So today we are pulling cards for February 2025, second month of the year. And before we get started pulling cards, we always like to begin with a little intuition test. So watching these videos, I'm going to pull a few cards that are going to give you some invitations to help work with your self-love, self-care, and mindfulness practices for the month of February. And we're also going to do this little intuition test where you can ask your intuition which card of the three I pull might be most valuable for you for the month of February. So pause the video if you need to and check in with your intuition now and ask for a number 1, 2, or 3. There are a few ways your intuition might give you this number. You might hear the number 1 in your mind as a gentle voice. That is the psychic pathway of clairaudience. You might see the number 2 in your mind as a visual. That is the psychic pathway of clairvoyance. Another way your intuition might give you this information is every time I say those numbers, 1, 2, or 3, you might just really feel energetically pulled to that number 3. Like, wow, that number 3 just really pops for me and my energy body gets all interested and engaged. So pick your number now, and we're going to pull cards in a moment. Just a couple things we like to do, or I like to do before we pull cards, is I want to give you a quick author update. You know, I'm Tanya Carol Richardson, and I have a lot of books and decks and a self-love calendar, and I like to let you know what's going on in my world in the upcoming months. And a big thing that I'm doing now are my soul care workshops. This is a really fun series I've started that you can join on Crowdcast. It's only $22 per class. So you join me and some other spiritual seekers, and you can ask questions, you can say hello to people in the chat, and every soul care class is about a different topic. Our next soul care class will be March 9th on a Sunday, and it is about channeling creativity. So some of you know I have 9 nonfiction books, 3 oracle decks. I've got a 3rd coming out soon, later in the year, and also my self-love, my annual self-love calendar. So I'm also a regular contributor to mindbodygreen.com. So I put out a lot of content, a lot of creative content, and I wanted to do this class to kind of look at creativity and your creative practice from both a practical and spiritual perspective. So how do we channel that creativity to really bring forth these amazing ideas and put them out into the world? Or if you're not a professional creative or you don't want to be, how do we have a creative hobby that makes us feel nourished, that helps us kind of cocoon from the world as sensitive people and really touch more with spirit and our soul and our own creative process if it's a hobby for you. I think creative hobbies are so healing for sensitive people. So if you'd like to join me in that class on March 9th, there is a link below to do that. As I said, it's just $22, and I hope I see you there. And I think that that's all that we need to talk about beyond our January recap. Another quick thing I do at the beginning of the videos is let you know how I experienced the cards we pulled in January. The card that stuck out the most for me was the card about signs and synchronicities that we pulled from Awakening Intuition. Oh my goodness, I got so many signs and synchronicities in January. I don't know if any of you felt similar, but I got so many powerful signs and synchronicities that really helped me kind of navigate not just January, but how I'm going to think about the rest of the year. So I hope you got a lot of wonderful signs from your guides in January. And remember, you can ask for those anytime. Just throw up a prayer, make a journal, intention, set an intention in meditation to ask for more signs and synchronicities from the loving universe, from your guides, from your ancestors. The other thing that stuck out for me from our January reading was the Synchronicity Flip we did from Year of Self-Love. It was about having sympathy and compassion for yourself. So as the entry from the calendar said, it's wonderful to get sympathy from other people or encouragement or comfort from other people when we are going through something difficult or we have gone through something difficult. But it's that weird thing where no one's walked in your shoes. You know, no one can ever know exactly what your experience has been like or felt like internally. So I hope in January you were able to offer yourself some nurturing comfort and just being gentle with yourself about whatever you are healing from right now in your life. Okay, so now we will begin pulling cards. We're going to start out with my deck, Awakening Intuition. And this deck has been such a joy to be a part of. It's become an Amazon bestseller in the divination category. So that's just been wild and really fun to experience. And I'm glad people are finding it so valuable, and so many people are wanting to awaken their intuitive senses, understand them more, and grow their intuition, which you can totally do with study and practice. So as many of you know, I have my own kind of unique shuffling method I like to use, but there's no wrong shuffling method. So however you shuffle cards is right for you. And I'll share with you my favorite method, which is I hold these cards between my palm chakras, warm them up a little bit, and I'm asking and setting the intention we get a really helpful card for February. Ooh, there's just a lot of energy on these cards today, so I think there's some messages that really want to come through. I heard we're looking for a bright message, you know, something to brighten us up, to help brighten our lives up. So here we go. Now what you're going to see is I'm going to start shuffling. You're going to see a lot of cards kind of flying around. I'm looking for one to kind of stick up and get my attention and let me know it's the card that wants to be picked. So here we go. February. Woo! Isn't that lovely? So that really stuck up one card on its own, and man, that let us know that it wanted to be picked. Ooh, I'm so excited that we chose that card. So if you chose card number 1, that card is right here, and I'll reveal that card to you in a moment. Now we're going to go ahead and choose a second card from Awakening Intuition. Again, we're looking for a card to jump up and get our attention and let us know that oh, this is so fun. So this is a side pull. So this is the fun thing about shuffling. It's never the same. This card is peeking out to the side. I'm going to pick this card for number 2. I love that card. That card really resonates for me. All right. Now we are going to go to my deck, Grief, Grace, and Healing. And this is a different deck. It is for people who are grieving any kind of loss, any kind of major change or transition in their life. It also comes with this wonderful velour little bag. And I've gotten so many lovely, heartfelt comments about this deck. So I'm glad that it's helping people. And as the suits of the deck say, there are cards for grief, there are cards for calling in grace, those benevolent forces that help bring miracles into your life, and then also cards about healing, how whenever we're grieving a loss, whether it's a person, a place, a thing, a role we used to have, there's some kind of transformational healing that will happen through that process. So, and I do a little bit of a different pull with this deck, which is a very gentle energy deck. I do more of a gentle pull, where again, I'm going to warm it up with our palm chakras. And again, I think we're looking for cards that kind of make us feel bright, happy, even excited. I keep hearing that's an energy that I think is wanting to come through for people in February. So we'll set that intention. And now we are going to just let the deck open wherever it wants to. Just let it fall open. Nice. Oh, I love this. That is a very bright card. You know, grief, as all of you know, when you're grieving a loss, grief is tough is an understatement of how grief is. But this card from the deck is really, really lovely, warm, healing card. So I'm excited to talk about it. That is card number 3. So remember the cards you chose, card number 1, 2, and 3. And now we'll do the reveal for everyone who chose card number 1, or maybe this card will just resonate with you. It is Learn About Clairaudience, and I'll read it to you. Hearing helpful words and full sentences is the rarest psychic pathway. A wise, gentle voice speaking in your head is different than an intuitive thought or your own inner dialogue. Don't experience clairaudience? Listen to what others say, even lines from movies or overheard in the grocery aisle that may be divine guidance. So when I ask my clairaudience, I'm very strong in clairaudience. I have all the 4 psychic pathways open. And again, they're clairaudience, the voice, clairvoyance, the images, claircognizance, getting the mental downloads or the brilliant thoughts pop in, and clairsentience, the feeling psychic pathway. I'm hearing for a lot of people in February, we're going to get some divine guidance through words, through hearing other people. This could be that you literally have clairaudience already open, as I do, where you get words and full sentences in your mind in a gentle, loving voice, giving you guidance about yourself or others. And I'm being reminded to let people know that that can open up at different times in your life. So the cool thing about intuition that I talk about in this deck or my book, Angel Intuition, is that intuition is not static. It's not just something that's just here like this counter and it doesn't change much. It grows and evolves throughout your whole lifetime. So for me, clairaudience, hearing that gentle voice giving me intuitive guidance in my mind, I didn't begin having that open up until my late 20s, about 28. So I'm 50 now, and so I've had it for quite a while, but at the time it was a big adjustment. I call that a sensitivity growth spurt, where, wow, I've got some new psychic pathways opening up. So cool when that happens, but it does take just a little bit of time to get used to, and then it falls in and it's just very normal and calm and no biggie in a way. So for some of you, if you are experiencing new psychic pathways like clairaudience open up, this is a good thing. And, look to my deck, Awakening Intuition, or my book, Angel Intuition. I also sometimes will have people come to me for an intuitive session. I offer those to people all over the world. I've done thousands of readings. Sometimes people will come to me just because they're having new psychic pathways open up and they want help understanding that and managing that. The golden rule is just more self-care, and you might just want to spend a little more time, creating a little space in your life so you can just kind of adjust to this. But more self-care is the golden rule. And for those of you who don't experience clairaudience, you still have a fantastic intuition. Everybody's intuition is rock star, and everybody's intuition is unique. So if clairaudience isn't part of your makeup or isn't part of your makeup yet, listen to what other people are saying. You might, as the card says, be in the grocery line and some person in front of you says something very random over the phone to someone else, but it's like, wow, that feels like a sign or a synchronicity. I think that's a message for me from the divine. Or you might, hear that when you're passing someone on the street, they say something. Or you might be talking to a coworker or a loved one, and one thing they say in the conversation is like, oh my gosh, I really needed to hear that. I keep thinking about what they said. So especially if you chose card number 1, look for that divine guidance that you're going to hear from the words in your mind or words of others. Second card I'm really loving. Card number 2 is ground into the physical world if you chose that card. And this is what it says. Paying attention to and managing the practical details of earthly life encourages mystical attunement. Create financial security, stabilize your work and living situations, or nail down any other aspects of earthly life within your control. This establishes a strong foundation for your psychic abilities. Stay on top of responsibilities and be pragmatic. Okay, so it's interesting because I felt like the energy I was getting for February, or the invitation we were being given, was to kind of have this brighter, hopeful, and even fun, excited energy. So card number 1, it can be really exciting when you recognize someone else is saying something that's meant for you. That's very exciting. Or clairaudience opens up as a new psychic pathway. Very exciting. Grounded to the physical world, when I wrote this card, it's primarily about that reminder that there is a connection between having this orderly kind of grounded, practical life and being able to really open up your intuition and start to have things like clairaudience happen. So it is about, kind of control and stabilize what you can in your life. So much, as we know, is out of our control. And we have seasons in our life when it's like, I can't really control my finances as much, or my health, or my house, or whatever's happening. This is a reminder it's healthy to control what you can. That helps stabilize the nervous system. And I also think what I'm hearing from this card for February, this is also about the pleasure of the physical world. Having a shirt that you just, I love the way this feels on my skin, or I'm going to make myself my favorite healthy lunch, or I'm going to sit and just, take an extra 15 minutes this morning and take my coffee or tea into the garden and look out at the magical, beautiful mist on the plants in the garden. I think some of this is meant to be, yes, we ground into the physical world because it's how we're responsible and take care of ourselves, but there's so much pleasure in the physical world. So let yourself experience that pleasure in healthy ways in February. And now card number 3. This is such a lovely card from the Grief, Grace, and Healing deck. It is Activate Heart Healing if you chose card number 3. There's lovely heart energy radiating in and from you. Activate your energetic heart by doing anything, being any place, or being with anyone that makes you feel tender-hearted and loved. Feeling is healing now. Your heart is trying to aid your healing. Grief makes you more compassionate about the suffering of others. Your inner healer is activated. Okay, so there's so many messages in that card. So especially if you chose card number 3, go back and listen to me say those lines and see, like with card number 1, which line jumps out to you as a sign for you. I think what it's really trying to say to us as a group for February is we're all kind of craving some of that lovely, yummy heart energy, those compassionate exchanges, those moments where a simple pleasure just lights up our heart. Those times when we can just say something really encouraging or really healing to someone else. So, and I think that's why I was hearing this kind of pleasure, fun, excitement for February. We're just craving that. We need that. So go into things that activate that make you feel healing, that makes your heart energy come alive, and give that to others in the world if your inner healer's being activated. But really, it's a time, I think, in February to allow ourselves to have joy, pleasure, meaningful experiences that are really tender-hearted and really make us happy to be alive, and make the world feel magical, and make it's not so much a month of your head, I think, in February. The head is great, the brain and the mind and all of that. This is a heart month. So go wherever your heart needs medicine, wherever your heart finds medicine. If it's a person, place, activity, through a creative hobby, whatever it is, go there and spread that heart medicine around, especially if you chose card number 3. Okay, now we are going to do our Synchronicity Flip. This is something where you can take any book, any printed matter, and you can open it randomly to a page to get a message. And you might find that page you open to is not random at all. It's a sign for you. So we're going to use my A Year of Self-Love calendar. This is the 2025 edition. It sold so well this year. Thank you for everybody that got one. I use this calendar myself. I've written a self-love action step and message for every day of the year. And it's really lovely. I love the pink color of it. And I'm going to do the Synchronicity Flip right now, where I'm asking my angels and guides to give us all a really positive healing message for February. Okay. This is really interesting. I think it really fits with card number 3. The message I got is, it's important to stay connected to the people I care about, but the most important person I can stay connected to is me. Sometimes I need to pull back from the lives of others and come home to myself. Ooh, I love that message. Let me read it again. It's important to stay connected to the people I care about, but the most important person I can stay connected to is me. Sometimes I need to pull back from the lives of others and come home to myself. So I think how that might resonate for us in February is, having the time and space to receive intuitive information, having a little bit more space in our schedule and our lives so that we can get those intuitive messages like card number 1 when they come in, or card number 2, I need some time and space to, get my responsibilities, get my life in order, and just enjoy all the earthly pleasures I have access to. And card number 3, I need to come home to my own heart. What makes me happy? What lights me up? What is heart medicine for me? Let me go to those places. Let me be with those people. Let me do those activities. So I think it's a month to create a little bit more space to really touch in with yourself and take care of yourself. Your relationships are always better when you have that space to take care of yourself. So I love coming home to myself, and I know a lot of sensitive people do too. The last thing we do in these videos is we do our astrology radar report. So I preface these by reminding everyone I am not an astrologer by any stretch of the imagination. However, astrology is something that I pay attention to just as a hobby, as a passion. So much as people who are astrologers watching this or love astrology even more than me, there's so much going on in the stars and in the sky at any given moment. When I asked my guides what I should focus on right now for February, they said Mars, which means the planet Mars. And what is the planet Mars doing? It kind of fits in with our reading. So the planet Mars is a planet of one of the things that it governs is kind of how we take action in the world, how we're assertive, how we're proactive, how we go out there and do things and get things done. It's a planet that rules Aries, my sun sign, and I'm very proactive and I'm always doing stuff because I'm ruled by Mars. We all are affected by Mars, and we all have Mars in a placement in our chart. Right now, Mars is in the sign of Cancer. That happened in early January, and it's going to be in the sign of Cancer through, I think, mid-April. So that means we're all kind of, in the way we take actions in the world, we're all kind of being affected by this Cancerian energy. So some of you that are Cancers or have that strong in your chart know that Cancer is a sign of the home. So when it says come home to yourself, that's a very Cancer trait. Cancers are really good at kind of creating a domestic atmosphere, spending time alone, comforting themselves, creating this lovely home and hearth, kind of nurturing energy. So Cancers do sometimes like to just pull back and really be on their own and not be so out there in the world. Cancers are also very protective of themselves and others. They're so loyal to the people that they love and care about. And they're very sensitive, especially very sensitive to their own emotional system and the emotional system of others. So one way that this Mars in Cancer has been affecting me, and I've heard some friends say this too, is I've just been staying home more, which is very kind of, stereotypical Cancer. I've just been really enjoying being in my home, kind of snuggled in. It's cold where I am, and just having a little bit more quiet time, a little bit more time to come home to myself. So if you have felt not as social, or just wanting to stay in, just wanting to putter around, wanting to comfort and cozy everything up, or wanting to just kind of be with your real tight inner circle, that's very Cancerian. So if you're a Cancer, have a strong Cancer placement, it's such a fantastic sign. And I'm loving this Mars and Cancer energy that we're all in. So if you've been feeling snuggly and been wanting to kind of hide away in a healthy way, that might be this Mars and Cancer, and you can give in to that. So thank you for being here for this February Awakening Intuition video series. Again, I'll remind you in the March video, but we have the Channeling Creativity class coming up. You can join us. You can also find, if you want to get an intuitive reading with me, if you'd like to do a private session with me, or if you'd like to get any of my books, decks, or self-love calendar, you can find that in the links below this video. Thank you so much for being here. here with me. I love these videos. Talk about something to get excited about. I get so excited when I'm preparing to do these videos. So thank you for being here with me, and I'm wishing you all a really, really happy, pleasurable February.